If you're just joining us, Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee have introduced the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, a bill designed to combat racial profiling and police brutality while building trust between minority communities and law enforcement. Joining us now, a Republican on that committee, Colorado Congressman Ken Buck. Your party is in the minority in the House, Congressman. What do you think of this proposed legislation?
Well, it's terribly unfortunate that Chairman Nadler and the Democrats on the committee didn't come to the Republicans beforehand, because I think there's a lot of opportunity to make good reform in this area, but not if they just ram through a very liberal bill and then try to negotiate with the Senate on some compromise. We had an opportunity and we missed it.
You were a prosecutor for 25 years. You have prosecuted bad cops in the past. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Well, so what is your take on the makeup of law enforcement? I mean, do we need to defund police departments? Do we need to overhaul the way policing is structured in this country, or is that throwing out the baby with the bathwater?
Well, I said the other day that if the Democrats want to call a social worker when someone's breaking into their home, they can go ahead. That's not my preferred course of action. I think defunding the police departments is a far left idea that most, even Democrats, don't agree with. I think we need some reforms, and I think those reforms include some of the things in the Democrats' bill. But when the bill goes too far, it's just going to be rejected in the Senate. So there are a lot of common sense things. The president is proposing some of them. And the overwhelming percentage of police officers are great people. They are there to serve their community. They risk their lives. You know, when you hear gunfire, most people are running away from it. Police officers run to it. And we have to make sure that we respect that and that we honor that and that we reward that. And the way that police officers are being treated right now is disgraceful.
It appears that most Americans would agree with you when asked about the idea of defunding or reducing funding for police departments and moving funds to different social services. These are the results of our latest Fox News poll. 41% say they favor it, but 46% in that poll say they oppose reducing funding for police departments. It appears that, by and large, Americans have their police departments' backs.
I think that's true, and it's true for a good reason, because people want to be able to call 911 and make sure that they have that safety is on the way. And I think that instead of reducing funding for police departments, we should be increasing funding, making sure that we have the absolute best training and equipment for police officers so they don't need to engage in some of their activity. There are some bad police officers who are attracted to the badge for the wrong reasons, and they need to be culled out of the police departments. And good police officers are the absolute last people who want to see bad police officers in those departments. So the ability to untie the hands of police chiefs and administrators is important, but we have to make sure that we do everything we can to make good police officers the very best that they can be.
On a related but different note, the head of your committee, Jerry Nadler, Democrat from New York, is suggesting defunding Bill Barr's office because he doesn't like what Bill Barr has done with regard to the U.S. attorney in New York. Listen.
I don't think calls for his impeachment are premature any more than calls for the president's impeachment were premature. But they are a waste of time at this point. We're instead going to do what we have to do without that, and including borrowing $50 million from his own personal budget.
Defunding the Attorney General's office? What do you think about that, Congressman?
Well, I think if Chairman Nadler took his job seriously, we would be looking at what Attorney General Holder and Attorney General Lynch and Director Comey and others were doing 4 years ago to undermine the Trump campaign and ultimately the Trump administration. And we have done none of that. This chairman will not even touch that whole entire issue. And so this is clearly an election year political activity by a chairman who is not going to succeed, but hopes that his rhetoric will at least invigorate the left wing of his party.
He mentioned that impeaching the attorney general would be, well, that it's essentially too late for that. He says he would like to do it, but the Democrats managed to, get the impeachment process with the president, and it went nowhere.
Yeah, and there are only two Democrats in the United States House that put country before politics on that impeachment proceeding. That was a sham impeachment. The president did not commit an impeachable offense. The answer to whatever the president has done the last 3.5 years is to allow the people to decide in November whether he deserves another 4 years. It's not to try to throw people out of office and overturn the will of the voters. And unfortunately, this chairman and the Speaker Pelosi are dead set on continuing these vendettas and petty arguments that they're engaged in. Let the political process play out and let the voters decide.
Congressman Ken Buck, Republican of Colorado, thank you.
Thank you.
Still ahead, why U.S. officials